Okay, and I think we are live yet again. Okay, hello, who's here? Who's here? Who's here? Because I'm a little bit late from when I said I'd be on. And hello, Anthony and Celtic King and La Heretic. Hello, Penny. Megan and Tendai and Tara. Hello, everyone. See, look, okay, I did the joke title about having Barnaby Joyce's sex tape. I just think anyone who really knows who Barnaby Joyce is not going to want to see a Barnaby Joyce sex tape. Hey, Pat Man. And hello, Smiley Cat. Doing good, thank you all. I definitely got to talk about what a violent, disgusting hypocrite Barnaby Joyce is. But I think people come later. I'll just say I already showed the sex tape. It's been on. Anthony, okay, ask me a big question. Would a Barnaby Joyce sex tape be better or worse than a John Howard sex tape? Wow, that's a question for the ages right there. I just think well, see, I think a John Howard sex tape would be very quiet and only last for a couple seconds, be in the dark and just a little bit of and then it would be over. But see, I think the thing is, with a Barnaby Joyce sex tape, it's going to be that big ruddy face of his, and it'd be an enormous amount of grunting, like him and being around farm animals. Or that's what he thinks sex is like. And it's just going to be a lot of grunting, and I imagine a lot of sort of spittle flying off his lips, and I don't know, maybe he'd be yelling "carp, carp, 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 carp." So while I think a John Howard sex tape would be uninspiring and possibly off-putting, I think a Barnaby Joyce sex tape would be spectacularly horrible. Toby, I think maybe AIDS appears in a lot of sex tapes. That's Essie Kuriaki. It's Barnaby Joyce's fault that you know, basically Australians have had the mental image of him having sex thrust upon them, which is not good. It's just not good. And hello, Miss Foxification. The heretic Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day. She doesn't repulse me. Barnaby repulses me. Penny, you think a John Howard sex tape would be worse than Barnaby Joyce? See, look, I think that's a personal choice. Again, what sex you're into, what porn you're into, and what you're revolted by, that's a personal choice. Well, Toby, AIDS does do full frontal nudity in code grey. Smiley Cat, who's Aussie? People who live in Australia. You mean of the people here, how many are Aussie? Most, I think. But I mean, yeah, I mean, fucking Barnaby Joyce is such fucking garbage. It's just, you know, he's on record as opposing a cervical cancer vaccine because it might make young women promiscuous. He's opposed marriage equality because I want to preserve the sanctity of marriage. And then he goes off and he tore his family apart. Like, his family aren't happy. His family aren't okay with it. The family are fucking shattered by the news of his infidelity and treating like shit. He's parading them as recently as the end of last year as what a wonderful family unit, all the while fucking one of his staffers. I mean, he's reprehensible. Kiriaki, I agree. Code Grey was a great show. It really was. So it's just Barnaby Joyce is absolutely reprehensible. He's a shameless, lying hypocrite, and he thinks like he shouldn't be held to account for his disgusting behaviour. In and of itself, I don't care that he fucked one of. Actually, no. There is a proprietary thing with a politician fucking their own staff. There's a whole etiquette thing there. I think he should. I think he should lose his job. Quite honestly, you know, and he ruined his family's life. He treated them like shit while trying to say, "I'm doing stuff for family values." It's just like, it's so lucky for people like him that the bullshit he spouts about, you know, his magic sky fairy who tells us all what we can and can't do. He's so fucking lucky that isn't true, because he'd be going straight to fucking hell. But oh, Anthony, politicians gone wild would indeed be a nasty porno. Toby, AZ, I think, is well. And me and my family well. Thank you very much for asking. But yeah, I don't know anyone who follows me on socials, but I had a bit of a funny experience today talking about AIDS and working with me, because I've been working with AIDS for a long time now. I don't know, 6 or 7 years at least. And I'd been sort of changing hard drives between computers, and I'd previously ripped a whole bunch of CDs onto a hard drive of an old computer, and then with changing phones and stuff, I didn't have most of the music on my phone, but I had this hard drive installed in a new computer. So I ran iTunes, and I told iTunes, just slurp up every audio track on this hard drive, so I've got more music to listen to. And I had it all on shuffle, like the whole. There's thousands of tracks on there, and so I picked up all the J-pop and K-pop my kids like to listen to. So I deleted those, but it picked up this recording, and I don't even know why I had this recording. I didn't mention. I don't remember. Not only did I not remember the contents of the recording, I don't remember making the recording, but it's I'm having a conversation with Aidsy about a movie idea. And I listened to the whole thing through. It's a fucking great movie idea. It's your murder mystery thriller, and it revolves around some YouTubers who did a video together. Several of them die, and the survivors think something's wrong. And then one of them sees in the background of a video someone get killed, and it's like, there's a hitman, and we accidentally videoed them, and the hitman knows we videoed him, and he's killing us one by one, and it gets all sort of complicated, and they find more evidence in old YouTube videos. It's actually a fucking good idea. I have to work on it at some point. Okay, Smiley Cat. No, I haven't seen the Bearing video because I don't fucking give a shit. Yes, I am thoroughly aware of the fact he did it, and that he did it multiple times in the past. Don't know why he's obsessed with me, because I've never paid any fucking attention to him whatsoever. But, you know, I don't know. I got something he doesn't, you know, integrity or something. But no, I don't watch. It's even like a couple of years ago when, I don't know, these right-wingers thought it was cool to do hate videos on me. There's that fuckhead in England as well. So gonna record. And I thought, oh, someone's done a tech video. I'll go watch it. And it was on a video of mine that was about 6 or 7 minutes long. And I thought, oh, what's he said? And I clicked on the video to see what he said. And he starts talking, and then I see it's a 15-minute video. I'm going like, I'm not going to fucking wade through 15 minutes of this fuckwit's drivel. And the video I did was only like 6 or 7 minutes long. So no, I've never watched any of those videos of these fuckheads having a go at me because it's just not very important to me. So yes, La Heretic, I think it's because I'm so damn good looking. Look, I don't know, it's just like, it's like whatever, these people, like if all I cared about was views and notoriety, I'd get into this drama. I'd get into beef with these fuckwads and make a scene, because I'd tear them to fucking pieces. But I just have no interest in people like that. I'm certainly not going to let people like that define me. So I mean, you could argue that I'm working against my own best interests because I could get a lot more views and drama and, yes, that's sweet, sweet YouTube cash from the extra views. I just have no interest whatsoever in doing it. You're right, Patman, they're after the ad revenue, but it's funny because when YouTube copped heat when it was revealed to advertisers, do you realize how much of your advertising spend is going on straight up hate speech? And a lot of those neo-Nazi shit stirrers had their ability to make money on YouTube severely curtailed, which is a good fucking laugh, quite honestly. Hey, Joe, how's it going? The Heretic, they all do that thing where it's like they take something someone else has done and they go, well, this person's dumb. I don't like what this person says. As well, get a life, you sad fucker. Celtic King, Sargon of Akkad is a fucking weak, pathetic, shit-sucking cunt, okay? He's a coward, a liar, and a hypocrite, and he's fucking garbage. You say he disproved my argument. I'll say, no, he fucking didn't. Look, you want to agree with him, that's completely okay. Do that. But I am just going to throw in, I never said anything that was wrong, and he's a cunt, okay? So, just saying. You can't call me out because I didn't watch his video, so I don't know what the fuck he said, but I do know he's worthless fucking shit. He's worthless shit. He's a liar. He's a coward. He whips up hate mobs, then denies that's what he's doing. He's just fucking subhuman excrement. Tendai, well summed up, living example of Dunning-Kruger effect. It's like, if I remember rightly, the video I made, again, I have to think back because this was a few years ago, that upset so good, sad head of ass face. See, fucking comedy gold from me, right? That's fucking champagne comedy right there. I think it was my video titled Men Have Got to Be Better, and it's just, I was really calmer. I'm not shouting. I'm not swearing at all. I'm literally just saying, be better people, And he had a problem with that. And that is all I need to know this person is an unmitigated cunt. Just absolutely worthless filth. It's just like, when I just make a simple plea like, hey, be less of an asshole, be a better person. And he's got a problem with that. Well, what else is there to say? Smiley, I'm in Melbourne. La Heretic, you're glad the Dark Mother gave us garbage person. Quickly became favorite word for shitlords. Yes, garbage person is a good description of a lot of these people. Miss Foxification, you're right. I think you're right about the self-conscious thing. when all I say is rapists are scumbags, and a bunch of people start jumping up and saying, "Oh, what, you're making it like all men are rapists," and clearly I'm not, because I'm a man and I'm not a rapist. But when the people get so aggressively defensive, why would you say stuff that's just supported by reality? Is like, well, I can think of one really big reason why you would be so defensive about someone calling out rape culture. I mean, it seems really obvious to me why someone would get so upset when no one accuses them of anything, but they still choose to get upset, whether it's about rape or racism or any form of bigotry. When you just say this bigotry is shit, when someone gets upset about that, I go, there's a fairly obvious conclusion to be drawn. Well, Heretic, you wish you could afford interns. Aren't interns by definition unpaid? Oh, I see where that came from. Tara, you said you had interns play with him. Were you literally referring to some code? I really thought it was funny when previous conservative governments in Australia tried to introduce legislation that you could hire teenagers legally, and it was like for like $2 an hour or something. And I was like, I can afford that. I'm gonna get some fucking slaves. Man, I'll never have to do anything. Man, it's fucking, and because you could hire them as casuals at $2 an hour. And it's like, if they were on the dole, they had to go in this work program where you like paid them $2 an hour. And I was like, fuck, man, I could afford a couple of slaves at that. Like, even if I had to pay them for a 40-hour week, I could afford a couple of slaves. And it was just like, and that was going to be government policy till surprise, surprise. It's it didn't get up because they surveyed the public and it was electoral poison. Okay, Celtic King, calling that worthless shit-sucking pile of filth a cunt is nowhere near over the top. When that worthless fucking cunt sends hate mobs, and it's mild what happens to me as to what happens to the women he sicks people on. He's a sexist, racist, lying, hypocritical, shit-sucking cunt. He's fucking filth. He's despicable and he's worthless, okay? And I get to say it because of what he's done to me unprovoked. I have no idea who that fucking cunt is. I fucking ignore him. And he sends hate mobs to attack me. So fuck saying I can't call him a cunt. He is a cunt. He's worthless, shit-sucking filth. He's utter garbage. He's a lying, cowardly, hypocritical, shit-eating cunt. Okay? We clear now? Do not fucking tell me what I can call someone who's tried to fuck up my life, okay? Fuck that shit. He's a cunt. He's worthless. He's a coward. He's a hypocrite. He's a piece of fucking shit. For fuck's sake, you do not fucking get to tell me who I can call a cunt after they've fucking done that to me. Fuck off, okay? I like you, I enjoy having you on the thing, but pull your fucking head off. Calling him a cunt is fucking mild. He's shit. Mikra, he sent hate mobs against me. He decided he didn't like the fact that I thought, you know, maybe men should make more of an effort to combat rape culture. Maybe men should not be pieces of shit. Maybe people should be less racist. And he has a problem with that. So fuck that motherfucking piece of shit. He's a lying, cowardly hypocrite. And that's the two big words there, coward and hypocrite. He's a fucking hypocrite. And he's a fucking coward. He's a weak, sniveling, gutless piece of shit. Hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm in a good mood. Smiley. I don't know the cunt's real name. He has the internet moniker of Sargon of Akkad. Yes, Chris. I got angry because I told I wasn't allowed to call someone a cunt. just because this cunt was a complete cunt to me, completely unprovoked. See, and that was the thing. If I had done an attack video on that piece of shit, then he could retaliate. I said nothing about this piece of shit, and he did multiple attack videos sending his hate mobs to try and swamp all my social media. So he's a fucking coward, a fucking bully, a fucking hypocrite, and a worthless fucking piece of shit. And grow the fuck up saying I can't call him a cunt. He is a cunt. He's a liar, he's a hypocrite, and he's a coward. Exactly, like Heretic. I've had to deal with this fucking piece of shit multiple times, okay? Do not fucking say I can't be fucking pissed off at someone who sent hate mobs to attack me multiple fucking times, completely fucking unprovoked. Grow the fuck up. Tara, you were called a feminist cunt on Twitter. Just funny compared to what some red femme said. A friend of mine, Eva, who I've done videos with in the past, but she moved up to Queensland, so I can't do. See, Abigail, I'm too shy. I repress my feelings. I don't make it clear how I feel about things. It's a failing of mine. I'm working on it. I'm going to try and express myself more clearly and in a more forthright manner in the future because I'm too ambiguous. Tara, again, my friend Eva, who I've made videos with in the past, her internet moniker was Deliciously Bad, and she does not like swerfs or turfs. The women who self-style themselves as radical feminists who exclude sex workers or trans women from discussions on feminism. Hence the acronyms SWERF, sex worker excluding radfem, and TERF, trans excluding radfem. And she got hassled, she's a cis woman, by this TERF just for saying, like, you're talking shit. And this one started going like, oh, keep your dick out of my toilet. And it was like, thank you, Celtic King. Hugs. Okay? I got kind of angry when you said I can't judge this cunt. And I did say, you can like him. I don't care. Do not fucking tell me I can't call him a cunt because he's a total cunt to me, totally unprovoked, and saying that I'm going too far with him. No. Fucking backing a tractor over that cunt's head is not going too far. Greetings, Nathan. Janoria, hey, a specific Twitter thread. Janoria, I can't really spend time looking at Twitter at the moment. If you send me a message on Twitter, I'll look at it later. But, the Heretic, you're right. Isn't it weird that people call you a cock because treating women like human beings is somehow unmanly? That is really weird. Penny, the light reminded you to water your garden before the sun goes down. See, I'm glad to help. You have a good evening too. Mrs. Angry looks after the garden here. I'm not the gardener. I mean, I'll help with trimming and stuff, but all garden decisions are made by Mrs. Angry. Smiley, I found out after the fact that Bearing was in one of my live streams being a stupid troll because that came through in the comments. Chris, what story did I finish? What story did I not finish? Tell me. But yeah, Bearing came in. This was, I think, just before he made the filthy fucking racist video he did because he's upset that I pointed out that the blatant lies being told about out of control African crime gangs in Melbourne was just racism. It was cheap politicking and blatant racism designed to appeal to racists. And he came on in this thing saying this dumb shit about he's personally had problems with Africans. And I said, look, individual problems with people doesn't mean that it's out of control. It's a simple lie. And then he went on to say this stupid shit about getting stabbed or family members getting stabbed. And I twigged that this person was lying. And I said something along the line, good, good. I hope they stab your whole family. I hope they come and finish you off. Because it was so obvious this person was lying. And apparently he tried to use lies to say I was lying. Raiders, Matthew Guy's heading for a huge upset. Why is he going to be upset, Matthew? Are the mafia going to stop giving him political donations? He'd be upset about that, I think. Oh yeah, the cuck thing. The funny thing about cuck, which is cuckold, which literally just means, and it is used to refer to a man whose wife has sex with someone else. But it's weird, with internet porn, it's got racial overtones as well. And because the neo-Nazi fuckheads who use it thinking it's an insult are all racists as well, because the majority of cuckold porn on the internet is a black dude having sex with a white. Apparently these ones, a really popular type of porn is the white dude sitting there watching the black dude fucking his wife. People get off on it. But so when the Trump loving neo-Nazis say cuck, it's not just like a sexist slur, it's a racist slur as well. So yeah, it's a weird way. And we'll put the little child on the naughty step because they're a child. Well, see, Kilter King, that's the thing. Some people are really into it. I mean, there is literally something for everyone in the porn world. So, yeah, Smiley, we always talk about sex. And, okay, so apparently I didn't finish this. I thought if I was talking about my friend Eva, I finished it. It's funny, this turf started assuming, because my friend Eva, who's cis female, who's defending trans women, assumes she's trans because who else but a trans woman would defend trans women? And Eva's just laughing, going, "No, no, you're off the trail there." Micah, you think most people use the cuck are really young, like us guys? Yeah, well, they're young in the heads, certainly. So don't worry about most of these people. They're just like mentally and emotionally, they're just children. Um, uh, it's yeah, it's super weird that they're so unsophisticated and they're so um, uh, easily upset. It's really weird. Brendan, AstroTurf head in the stars. That's weird. What's that? Oh, look, you're right, Micah. Different people in different environments might say, Smile, would I consider jacking off sport? Okay, with no grammar there, you're asking me with sport. Well, it's competitive in some sense. Isn't that the old story that in um, boys' schools, that like boarding schools, the boys would have races to see who'd come first when they were jacking off? And the variant is soggy sayo, where they do it onto a biscuit and the last one has to eat the biscuit, which is super, super poor planning for the future, because the big challenge for a lot of dudes is not coming too soon during sex. And so if you spent your teenage years competitively trying to come first, that could be really adverse in your adulthood. Yes, Aussie prick chick, Soggy Sarah. Wasn't AstroTurf the stuff from the spot? Now, AstroTurf is fake grass. And there's the old saying that, community organisers are grassroots organizations. But then you get these things where vested interest, big companies, politicians set up a fake grassroots organization to push a political goal, and that's called astroturfing, pretending you're a real grassroots organization when you're fake. Celtic King, is there angry porn, as in porn of me? No, to the best of my knowledge. I've never actively participated in it. You know, someone could have been at the window at some point. But I mean, oh my God, is there porn where people are angry? Definitely. Absolutely. Definitely. I'll smiley cat. I'll talk about anything. Okay. We do lots of things. So, Raiders like the IPA, the beer or the lobby group? Oh yeah, you're talking about well, IPA aren't. Well, I don't know. Do they claim to be grassroots? I thought they were official political lobbyists. The IPA set up AstroTurf groups, definitely. Yeah, the Heretic. I mean, you know, it's like you're a proud redneck. I grew up in the country New South Wales, and it's weird. People will occasionally randomly throw out an insult at me and call me a bogan, and I'm going, well, you're gonna have to try harder to insult me because that doesn't bother me at all. Celtic King, sadly, Aidsy has still not ever found his porno. He's a sad, sad boy because of that. Tendai jumped demanding a military parade. That was weird. It's like the other thing, people are humiliating. Like, seriously, when you see all the stuff Trump says, it's hard to tell the difference between Trump and Kim Jong-un. That just, you know, the whole deal leadership that he demands from people is really weird. Brendan, country New South Wales is everything outside of Sydney, basically. Newcastle might argue they're not a country town, but they are. Sam, what do I think about people writing about the United States Super Bowl? Well, that shit happens all the time, right? Excuse me. After big sporting events, crowds of privileged white boys rioting. And these are the same people who, if there's a big riot in protest, say, you know, like police murdering an unarmed young black man, they're the ones who go judge, 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 judge. But then when it's like not even a good reason, not that I actually defend the riots that go on a big destructive rampage, but the people who did the one after the sporting organisation are the same ones who criticise people who are doing things with political motivation. And the Heretic, with Trump's military parade, it's just ridiculous. It's a joke. The dude's so fucking insecure. Like I said, it's hard to tell the difference between him and dear leader in North Korea. Wants his own propaganda TV channel, which he's basically got in Fox News. Wants a military parade to feel like a big man. So like the dude's so sad and insecure. Oh no, Brendan, I get what you're saying about riding after sports being associated with Brits and European. Happens all the time in the US after the Super Bowl, after big basketball games, after big hockey games. Happens all the fucking time. You're right, Biori. Trump does not even hide his admiration for dictators, people like Putin and Duterte in the, which I probably pronounced wrong, but he's the Philippines leader. And again, Duterte's technically not a dictator because he was democratically elected. He's just a fucking fascist thug. Heretic. In Tennessee, redneck, someone who lives in a rural area and has a huge pickup truck to compensate for the tiny penis. Hey, Shelf Warmer. Tara, you're right. AZ's porn might have been destroyed when they discovered he was under 18. Maybe not, though. You know, he didn't look under 18. See, that's the thing. That's the reason he got in it. When AZ was a teenager, he was a competitive swimmer, like he competing at state level. So he was buff as fuck. Like he's huge. Like you ever seen swimmers' bodies? Like my cousins were big swimmers, and they all had this fucking wedge shaped body, like really broad shoulders and huge pecs, and going down to this tiny waist. So at 17, which I think was how old he was when this happened, he would have looked very mature. He would really built. But who knows? Who knows? That's the thing, you know. Talking about one obscure porn made 20, no, how long? 10, yeah, 25 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. Um, uh, you know, the literal millions of porn videos that have been produced since then, you're never going to find one. No, Celtic King, I am sorry to disappoint you. I have not gone to your Pornhub account to look at your dick pics. Nothing personal, just not something I spend a lot of my time doing. So yeah, I mean, I remember years, but this is you kids, okay? I'm practicing my old man talk now, right? So I can shake my fist and tell kids to get off my lawn. Let me tell you, you kids, you know, as recently as the 90s, when you had there was no choice but to buy porn. There was no such thing as free porn. You had to buy it. Okay? You kids are just spoiled with all this free porn. And you had to pay for porn as recently as the 90s. And either rent or buy it. And good old VHS tapes. I mean, even back in the day in the 90s, you know, I was just, I don't know, I'm not into dudes, definitely not gay. I like sex with women. Although, I don't know, would buy porn turn me on? So I deliberately watched one. And this is when you used to get themed porn. Like, oh, you still do get porn parodies. Um, but this was a themed buy porn based on Gilligan's Island, an old TV show I watched as a kid. It's like Gilligan's Island was from the 60s, 70s. And of course, you've probably, okay, you guessed, okay? It was a buy porn version of Gilligan's Island. I'm going to let people guess the obvious. Who can guess what this video was called? Okay. Shelf warmer. See, I don't know if there's people who can't get off without VHS static, but it might be some people's trigger. It might make it better for them, bring back memories of, oh, when I was really young and watched it on VHS with the wobbly picture and distortion. So is anyone going to guess Bury? It's not Gilligan's Orgy. Porn makers love puns, okay? Oh, shelf warmer. That's a good one. Banana cream pie. Wasn't called that, but that's a good one. The Heretic, not Gilligan's Dungeon. Misfoxification wins. It was called Gilligan's Byland. Tendai's gone with Gilligan's Dong, and Micah's gone with Gangbang Island. No, Misfoxification wins. It was called Gilligan's Byland. And it didn't turn me on at all. So I was going, oh, okay, I'm not even bi. Okay, I just like women. Fair enough. But you can't say I didn't explore it. I just looked at it and went, is this going to turn me on? And I was like, nah, not really. Okay, fair enough. Oh, Chris W., we didn't have Cinemax and HBO in Australia in the 90s. So that's an American thing. So, yeah. So, Gilligan's Island, porn parody makers love puns. Smiley cat. Conversations on my live streams always get weird. Okay. Um, yes. Oh, The Heretic. That's a good question. Was the sequel called By Land, By Sea, By Air? That seems like a porn with international couriers. That's a porn about bisexual international couriers. I think the international mail service, by land, by sea, by air. I think there's grounds in that. Sam, what's my opinion on Australia detaining Indonesian children being charged as adults just trying to live in this country? I don't know to what you are specifically referring. I think Australia's refugee policy with imprisoning asylum seekers is fucking contemptible, and it's vile, and it's criminal. It's been called out as criminal by the UN multiple times. I think history is going to judge us very poorly on that. Oh, shelf warmer, that's a good question. Ginger, Marianne, or Mrs. Howe? That's a defining question. As a straight dude, if you're on the island, who would you be making moves on? Ginger, Marianne, or Mrs. Howe? Ginger. I would go Ginger. Definitely wouldn't say no to Marianne. And hey, after you've been on the island a couple of years, Mrs. Howe, sure, why not? The Heretic, what would be a porn parody name for planes, trains, and automobiles? No, I don't know. Sure, for planes, trans, and autoerotic asphyxiation? Maybe. Hey, Cliff Jumper. Celtic King, you have to be a bit of a chubby chaser to think I'm sexy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah. Oh, misfoxification, having Roo burgers, enjoy that. I know some people get upset at the idea of kangaroos being eaten in Australia. I think it would be better environmentally if we did kangaroo rather than beef. I have not had kangaroo for a long time. It's for those who don't know, kangaroo meat is very lean and very red. It's a very dark red meat, very lean. As far as meat goes, I think it's quite healthy. To me, it was very gamey. I didn't like kangaroo when I had it. I thought the taste was too strong. Some people are really into it. Mrs. Angry likes kangaroo. I'm going to try it again because it's one of those things. Maybe my tastes developed. So maybe I'd like it if I tried it again. The Heretic, how do we eat Vegemite? Very sparingly. I don't know if you put too much on it, but I like, although I don't have it very often, toast, butter, and a thin coating of Vegemite, I think is really yummy. Micro buffalo burgers. I have had buffalo as well. If you go up to Darwin in the Northern Territory in Australia, they have all sorts of exotic meats. It's very easy to get buffalo, camel, kangaroo, emu, crocodile. I think there was a couple others. Oh, the Heretic, you had a spoonful. Don't do that. Christ, I wouldn't eat a spoonful of Vegemite. That's gross. Burns the roof of your mouth. No, don't do that. Put it on bread. Either a Vegemite sandwich, but you eat sparingly. You don't eat a spoonful. You don't spread it. Cliff Jumper, I'm asking for Canberra kangaroo to ninja its way through a bedroom. Kangaroos can be super dangerous. Patrick, you want lots of butter. I tend to agree with you. I do like a lot of butter in a Vegemite sandwich or Vegemite toast. Oh my God. See, when I was a kid, I didn't eat anything. I had really bad eating habits. And it got sent to my grandmother's place one time. And she's making like ham sandwiches and salad sandwiches, eggs, for everyone else, which is stuff I didn't eat. And I said, I don't like any of that. And she's like, well, what do you like on a sandwich? And I went, I don't know, Vegemite and cheese. And I made us two separate sandwiches. And then she came back and gave me a Vegemite and cheese sandwich, which was gross. And I know some people actually like it. Some people like Vegemite and cheese. I didn't. I did not like it. I'll say it. Hey, Cliff Jumper, I actually got the reference to a very old video of mine about kangaroos smashing through someone's suburban bedroom window in Canberra. I actually got there. I don't remember all my videos because over the last dozen years, I've uploaded about 3,000 videos to to YouTube. So occasionally people will watch a really old video and comment and they'll say something. And I've gone, fuck, man, I don't know. You're saying, why did I say it? I don't know if I really said that. And sometimes if it's a long video, I'm going, my God, I don't want to watch myself for 10 or 15 minutes just to see what you say I said. That, you know, that doesn't seem like a good use of my time. It's like, alrighty, so you like sharp, tasty cheese and Vegemite? Shelfwoman likes melted cheese, Vegemite, Jaffles. Okay, I'll tell you, I do like, they do those things at Baker Delight, the cheese scrolls, and they have a cheese and herb one, and they have a cheese and Vegemite one, and I like that. I like that cheese and Vegemite scroll. So maybe I'd like a cheese and Vegemite sandwich about it. Just as a kid, I didn't like it. But maybe I would like it now. The heretic, you good old southern breakfast, fried animal fat on a biscuit. It's like biscuits and dripping, is it? It's like Cliff Jumper. I've tried Marmite. Marmite's fine. I probably prefer Vegemite, and I tried Promite as well, which is sweeter. But yeah, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I probably used to. Well, look what I've got here, because I'm going to send this to a friend. Actually, I got it from the supermarket. This is like Ultra Vegemite, special limited edition. Vegemite Blend 17. How do they describe it? Since our humble beginnings in Albert Park, we've continued the Australian tradition of locally made. Now proudly made at One Vegemite Way in Port Melbourne, just down the road from me, we've crafted something special as a toast of Vegemite. Ooh, it's got a bolder finish. See, I haven't even tasted this. I'm going to send this to a friend overseas. In fact, I have two of them. I'm going to send them to 2 different people. But yeah, that's like Ultra Vegemite Blend 17. Not sponsored, by the way. I'll be the first video of mine you ever watched was about a crocodile getting eaten by an even bigger crocodile. That Australian wildlife is hilarious because whenever there's a wacky animal eating animal one, because there's a crocodile eating another crocodile, one with a crocodile eating a shark, and there's one with a python eating a crocodile. There's one with a large spider with a smallish snake in its web and is eating it. So you go, technically, when you follow that far enough, in Australia, you are at risk. It could technically happen. You could be getting eaten by a shark, and that shark is being eaten by a crocodile, and that crocodile is being eaten by a snake, and that snake's being eaten by a huge spider, because all those things happen. Oh, Alex, you reckon the Blends 17 tastes normal? I'll have to try it. Celtic King getting beer. I might get a drink too. Sorry, Cliff Jumper. You reckon if I did a blind taste test, I wouldn't tell the difference between Marmite and earwax? So you're not a Marmite fan then? Okay. Oh, God. The Heretic, did I see a video of a gazelle diving into a car to avoid lions? No, I don't think so. I feel like maybe I did, maybe I didn't, and doesn't surprise me at all though. Oh, Tara, you've had some happy pills. That's good. Raiders, carpet pythons will eat anything with feathers. Carpet pythons will eat things with scales as well. Carpet pythons will eat a lot of things. Here in Melbourne, we don't get that much wildlife. But friends of mine who live in Queensland, particularly like North Queensland, houses are just full of critters. You get snakes, lizards, frogs, huge bugs. Not just spiders, but just huge bugs. Once you get up north in Australia, in the tropics, you got to deal with beasties. So here we get huntsman spiders here. They can be kind of big. Every now and then in the suburbs, you'll get a snake, but it's relatively rare. But the further north you go, you get more spiders, more bugs, more frogs, more snakes, more lizards. They're everywhere. Cliff Jumper, good point. I should have asked you how you know what earwax tastes like. But I know we all use phrases for something we assume tastes bad. No, not that I distinctly remember the taste, but all kids, I think, have had a go at eating earwax. I remember eating earwax, and it was disgusting. So I've actually eaten earwax, and it was, oh my God, I just remembered. There was video of Kevin Rudd, former Prime Minister of Australia. This was before he was Prime Minister. He's in Parliament. There is video of him eating his earwax in Parliament because there were cameras in the Parliament, and he's just bored, and there happens to be a camera on him, and he picks at his ear and goes, he actually eats earwax, like, and he doesn't pull the faces like as an adult. Like, weird. Oh, shelf warmer. Yes, you're of my vintage. I immediately thought of Rick Mayall from The Young Ones. Like, I'm so hungry I could eat my own earwax. And we all know how bad that tastes, right, kids? Yes. Sam, that's sad. A pregnant female died in remote Western Australia from a snake bite. That's sad. Normally, these days, to die from a snake bite or a spider bite, you have to be usually very young, very old, very sick, or just away from any help at all. And yeah, pregnant woman, I could see being susceptible to it. But yeah. Oh, you got an angry beer Celtic King. I'm going to get a drink. I'm going to get a drink because it's Thursday night. That's almost the weekend. That's fine, buddy. I dropped mine. What do I have? Well, that's what I have. And I might just have this. I had this last time, didn't I? Grape soda. And some lemonade. Sam, there's a call for ambulances to carry antivenom. Yeah, well, deaths from snake bite are so rare because most people get to the hospital in time, and you have to be very unlucky as an adult to get a fatal dose from a snake. Wait, I need my jigger. I know you young folk are into your free pouring of alcohol. I actually like to know how much I'm drinking. Maybe I'm a bit conservative that way. I'd just like to have a really solid idea of how much I'm drinking. I'll just have to double there. Yeah, of my grape vodka, grape candy vodka. Well, yeah, cliff jumper. A huntsman, I may have said that, might be good for constipation by scaring the shit out of you if it drops on you when you're driving, like hiding behind the sun visor in the car, which is a thing that happens on a semi-regular basis in Australia. But it's not really a health thing because it vastly increases your chance of dying by going, ah, and crashing. So, yeah, Sam, that was really unfortunate. Now, I do vaguely remember seeing a story about the pregnant woman dying. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Paramedics would have tried to help her, but yeah, the hospital was a long way away and she was really susceptible. And I could see as a pregnant woman might be weakening. Yeah, that is a really unfortunate story. Musical Aviator, Thursday's Friday enough for a Paramore concert. Is that a reference I'm not getting, or are you literally saying there's a Paramore concert on a Thursday night? Yeah, and huntsmen are harmless. They can just scare you to death, which is, you know, a bit of a worry. Even I know, whenever I see huntsman, I go, okay, I want to do something with that dude because everyone's freaking out. I know he's harmless, but he's huge and freaky, and we'll try and do something. I remember doing this bonfire thing years ago when I was at college in the country. I went to friends, and we were it was a huge bonfire, and we were literally putting a tree on it, like a tree that had been cut down or fell down. It was all dried out wood. And there was like, I don't know, there's a dozen of us carrying it, like 6 on each side. And that was enough guys. They're like, put it on our shoulders and carry it across to the bonfire and dump it on the bonfire. So we did that, put it on the bonfire, burn, burn, burn. And then after this tree really catches on fire and it's spreading through, we just saw all these huntsmen coming out like they'd been hiding under the bark on this tree. And as these huntsmen tried to escape the flames running, I think all of us was just going, mother, that was right where my fucking head was. So that thing was just sitting there right next to my head while I was carrying that tree. Very disturbing. Yes. Oh, Tara, you got bitten by a whitetail and got a complication. Okay, now here's an interesting thing. The whole thing about whitetail bites being specifically dangerous has been proven to be a fallacy. Now, I don't blame you for saying it, Tara, because doctors will tell you that whitetail spider bites will give you a complication. But they're no more that whitetails are completely non-venomous, and their bite is no more dangerous than, it's no more likely to get infected or have a complication than any other non-venomous insect bite. You can be unlucky. Once your skin's broken, shit can get in there. I don't know, maybe the spider had a dirty mouth, you could do in there. But there's a thing that's basically an urban myth, that if a whitetail spider bites you, the bite won't heal. You'll get necrotizing fasciitis. And that isn't true. And I don't blame anyone for thinking it's true, because doctors will tell you it's true. But spider scientists who, I don't know, they're probably called arachnologists or something, but spider scientists have gone, oh, I'm so fucking sick of this, none of that shit's true. But you can still get it, because Aidsy got necrotizing fasciitis from an ant bite. An ant bit him on the scrotum and he went ow and scratched it, and the breaking of the skin, just with a whole series of 1,000,000 to 1 coincidences, flesh-eating virus got into the cut in the skin and went to town and almost killed him. So you can get necrotizing fasciitis from a whitetail spider bite, but you're no more likely to get it than from any other ants. Oh, Trillium, did his scrotum swell? Did it heck? Listen to the way he tells it. The next morning he woke up and his balls were swollen to about the size of a grapefruit, which he just thought was impressive. And his wife said, stop saying that's a good thing, we're going to hospital. And he went to hospital and they saw that and went, oh my fucking God. And went to emergency. He did actually die. It went septic and went all through his system and attacked his organs. He died, but he died twice, but he came back. Oh yes, Chris, that's our standard line. Don't Google it. It's called, when you get it on your scrotum, it's called Fournier's gangrene, and it's really bad. And AZ turned it into a comedy act called Code Grey, which you can find on YouTube by searching AZ Code Grey. It's really good. It is. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Toby, I haven't had any notification of a letter, but I haven't looked either. Look, I'm going to be in the city tomorrow for a thing called Pause Fest. I'll try and remember to check the mailbox and see if there's a letter they didn't tell me about, because they don't always tell me. They just usually tell me. And yes, I saw the general references to anti-vaxxers. Fuck anti-vaxxers. It's one thing to be an idiot and be anti-science. Those people literally kill children. You know, we're on the fucking razor's edge of having lethal outbreaks of things like measles. The idea that measles isn't a bad disease is fucking ridiculous. An uncontrolled outbreak of measles would have quite the death toll attached to it. Just we haven't seen that in the last 100 years because of vaccinations. Anti-vaxxers are fucking scum. I hate that so much. So Cliff Jumper, you remember it really well. It's there's a running joke in Code Grey how different doctors always got AZ's surname wrong. And it's called Code Grey. Incidentally, Code Grey is a hospital term that means a patient has become violent. So he called the show Code Grey because his reference over his years of medical misadventures, AZ had a couple Code Greys. Sometimes the doctors pushed him too far and he went off a bit. It's not something he's proud of. He is proud that he never did it to nurses. He has much higher respect for nurses than he does doctors. He thinks doctors have a bit of a God complex. But yes, he did Code Grey a couple times in his life. Yes, Cliff Jumper, you're right. There's a guy called Andrew Wakefield who did a completely falsified study on vaccination and relationship to autism. And it wasn't just wrong, he deliberately falsified it. Like, it ran in the Lancet because he provided all this paper saying it was a proper study. They ran it. And then a couple of years later, it was found out it wasn't just wrong, he had deliberately falsified it. And it was for his own commercial gain. He's a piece of shit. And he's been responsible for terrible things. Right, he's right. Code Grey also refers to visitors, and that's absolutely inexcusable. Like when I've gone to the doctor and stuff, I've seen they have signs saying, "Don't abuse the doctor." You know, abuse of medical stuff is awful. I thought, who the fuck abuses medical? And people do. People just do, and it's like, it's fucking horrible, and there's no excuse for it. The idea of just abusing nurses and paramedics and doctors is just stupid. Oh, okay, Cliff Jumper, you have an interview with the Times Journal to explain the fraud. Nice. Nice. That's, yeah. This is what people need to know. It wasn't this guy who's responsible basically for the whole anti-vaxxer movement. He wasn't just misguided. He wasn't just mistaken. It was a premeditated fraud for his own commercial gain. I mean, he's really, 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 really a bad fucking person. Like, he's awful. Trillion. Vaccinations, so temporarily. Some vaccinations need to be topped up. Yes, that's the whole thing. You need to talk to the medical professionals about how many vaccinations you need. So, yes. Oh, Raiders, yeah, ice addict. People in, it's not just ice, of course, drunks. Basically, anyone who is sort of, differently mindset because of stuff they've ingested. They're fucking horror stories for medical people. Thanks for dropping by, Tendai. Good to see you. You're right, Shelf Warmer. Most anti-vaxxers are just full-on conspiracy nuts. The whole thing's a conspiracy, and if you point out to them why they are factually wrong, they say, "Oh, you're part of the conspiracy. Big pharma, blah, 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 blah." And I find anti-vaxxers completely contemptible because they literally kill people, usually children. But yeah, if there was a big enough outbreak, a bunch of susceptible adults, like, I've never had measles, and I wouldn't have had a fucking measles vaccination since I was a kid. So I have no idea if I have any resistance at all. Ugh, Toby, yeah, someone saying you got Asperger's, because I said that was the big thing, saying vaccines cause autism or Asperger's. It's just fucking shit. See, there's a good background, Cliff Jumper. Wakefield was hired by lawyers to sue cases. And yes, there are absolutely remote possibilities of complications with vaccinations. It's just that the actual risk to the population, if vaccinations weren't a thing, is up here. and the risk of complications from vaccination. And yeah, if it happened to you or your family, that like your child had an adverse reaction or even died from complications after vaccination, that'd be awful. That'd be terrible. You'd feel awful. And of course, you'd start to feel angry and say, well, it's their fault. They did that. But not vaccinating means hundreds of thousands of deaths and complications. Like, you just got to look at stuff like all the kids who were in iron lungs in the early 20th century. It just fucking blows my mind. And the anti-vaxxers go, oh no, it's just that we got healthier generally. Oh, it's just less disease. It's just like, and it just ran the disappearance of these diseases just randomly coincided with the introduction of vaccines. It's just like, yeah, I really fucking hate anti-vaxxers, actually. Now we're all saying who's in the Aspie Club. The thing is, we're on YouTube and the internet. We're all nerds to some degree. And this is one thing I found out because I organise meetups with YouTubers on a semi-regular basis. And it is absolutely accurate to say that people who are on the nerdy side of things, there is a disproportionate representation of people who are on the Asperger's spectrum. Uh, that's just an observable truth. But when you're among your own people, other nerds, you can relax a bit and have fun and be less worried about judging. Unless you end up with us, there are complete fucking assholes who are nerds. Let's not sugarcoat it. There's that old fallacy that because nerds got picked on at school, the jocks are bad and nerds are great. No, a fuck ton of nerds are pieces of shit, and a lot of jocks are really good people. It's just, people are shit. No matter what. Oh, gosh. Tari is saying you have a trend in young mothers wanting friends and family visit before the baby's immune system. Oh, yeah. No, okay. That's sensible. I thought you were going to go the other way with the people who have, like, sickness parties. They go, like, oh, look, this one kid's got measles or got chicken pox. We should bring all the kids around so they get it and they'll be stronger afterwards. Now, chicken pox tends not to have complications, although it can in very rare cases. But deliberately exposing your kids to measles is fucking moronic because the list of possible complications for measles is really big. Toby, are you a musician? You're saying you should make a song around people are shit. That's a fine idea. Shelf warmer, different people have different definitions of nerds and geeks, dweebs, and whatnot. Some people are assholes. So yeah. Cliff Jumper, that's the problem. Vaccines have been so effective. We have now had a couple of generations of people who haven't had to live with the horrors of the diseases vaccines prevent. And so therefore, they think vaccines aren't necessary because they don't see. Like, the infant mortality rate just 100 years ago was so much higher. And it really makes me angry. Like, anti-vaxxers will say this dumb shit of, well, they didn't have vaccinations 100 years ago, 150 years ago. What did people do then? They fucking died. They fucking died. The infant mortality rate was so much, and the adult mortality rate was so much higher 100, 150 years ago. It's fucking crazy. Oh, Tara, you had kids hang out and you had chicken pox. Hey, here's a fun fact. I never had chicken pox or measles as a kid. Okay, but now I had kids. When my kids were little, they got chicken pox. They were, I don't remember if they were at school or if they're in daycare. Someone had chicken pox, they got chicken pox. And everyone said to me, oh no, getting chicken pox as an adult is terrible. Oh my God, it's going to be awful for you. So I really wasn't looking forward to it. And I did contract chicken pox from my kids. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was really itchy for a while. For about 3 days, it was like I had the flu. I had quite a high fever and I did not feel well, but it was only 3 days. So everyone said, oh, getting chicken pox as an adult will be horrible. You might end up in hospital. And apparently the risk of complication is there, but I didn't get any complications. And I was only sick for about 3 days. The itching was terrible. My kids, because it was you try really hard to stop the kids from scratching, and you can't really. They both got a facial scar from scratching. One of the things, my son has a little one here on his cheek, and my daughter has one on her forehead from scratching them too hard and leaving pits. So they're just little ones, not disfiguring. Just add a little bit of character, a little scar on the cheek. So I said to my son, like, just tell people you got it in a knife fight. Makes you look cool. Yeah. You're right, La Heretic. When people say, oh, there was none of this mental illness 50 years ago, 100 years ago, yeah, there was. And as you point out, sometimes people stand for it. But more recently, what happened? Adults with mental health issues were just drugged in either by medical professionals, drugged into oblivion, or they did it to themselves with alcohol and other medications. And they just buried the severe mental health issues under alcohol and drugs. So of course it was always fucking there. People were fucked up always. It's just now we're better at identifying it and doing something a bit more productive. Yuri, you have facial scars from your days as a toddler. Were you in a toddler fight club? Is that what you're trying to say? Toddler fight clubs. I've heard of that. People doing... I shouldn't laugh because it's awful, but I've actually heard of cases of people in childcare centres actually making the kids fight for their amusement. That's awful. I'm an awful person for laughing about it, but yeah. Oh my God, Cliff, I just read that comment. When you had chickenpox, your parents were horrible. Your mum showed you the cover of a horror novel with a man with a half-eaten face and said, this is what will happen to you if you scratch. Oh my goodness, that's fucked up. Raiders, I have not listened to a lot of Joe Rogan, but here's a story about Xanax in LA. I could imagine, actually. Micro, you were up late. Thank you for dropping by. Yes, and I hope I'll be here for about another half hour or so. And I'm sure we're going to have a good old time. A good time so far. Biori, I think you're spot on that the first rule of Toddler Fight Club is don't talk about Toddler Fight Club. And I think in the one I read, the person running the daycare centre threatened the kids heaps. Don't tell anyone about this. And it went on for quite a while before they got caught, before one of the kids did say something. All right, Leritic, your mother gave you an oatmeal bath. I heard of that for chickenpox, actually. But your Mimo, she was a bit more old school, was she? Oh, dear. Oh, Biora, you're one of those kids. You pulled on a cable which knocked over a vase which hit you in the head. So you have a scar on your cheek and above the leg. I worked with a guy years ago, and he had pretty impressive scars down one side of his face. And I said, how'd you do that? He goes, oh, he was a kid chasing his brother around the house, and his brother was just a bit getting away from him and went out a sliding glass door and pulled the door shut really fast, thinking he'd stop chasing him. But the chasing one, he hadn't really realized the glass door was shut. He ran into it full speed and smashed right through it. This was not safety glass, so there's big jaggedy bits everywhere and just cut the fuck out of his face. And so he had really full-on scars right down. Lucky he didn't lose an eye because they was right down near the eye. But that was really full on. Le Heretic, your old school Meemaw threatened to beat you if you didn't learn how to ride a bike. Well, you know, that's just her version of encouragement, I guess. Nathan, sock on your hands. We tried that with the kids. Even just when they were little babies, when their nails started to grow, just when they sleep, they'd scratch their face up. So we tried putting mittens on them, and then they just put all their effort into getting them off. Toby, you and your mate wouldn't be the first people to beat the shit out of each other. Yes, you should have formalised it into a fight club. Charge admission. That could work. Oh, Tara, that's harsh. You got oatmeal soap for your pimples, but your sister got proper pimple medication. That's harsh. Oh, Jesus Christ, I almost spat my drink out there. And Cliff Jumpy saying you knew a guy who got his eye poked out with a sharp stick when looking through your box. Oh, my God. There were a few misadventures when I was a youth. All these things about, oh, well, terrible, they got rid of firecrackers. What used to happen, it's not so much that firecrackers themselves were dangerous, although they were and could be. What everyone would do, because you'd buy these things legally that were full of gunpowder, and there'd always be someone who'd break them open and try and collect a whole bunch of gunpowder. And this happened to some guys from my school. They're going to make a pipe bomb because they heard they were really loud, made a really big bang. It was like a copper pipe with a screw-on thing on each end, and they filled this copper pipe up, and they were screwing on the end, and like they were going to put a fuse on it and throw it. Screwing on the end, and there was some gunpowder in the thread of the thing on there. And when they were screwing it, the metal on gunpowder was enough friction to cause a spark and ignite the gunpowder that was in the thread, which went and ignited the gunpowder that was in the pipe. And yes, pipe bombs make a very big bang. And this guy lost most of the fingers on both hands and scarring right up his face because he like had it here and it just went batoon, and he got I think he got scarring on his chest and right up his face and lost most of the fingers on both hands. That's just the dumb shit you always do. I mean, I had a friend talk about like his dad had an oxyacetylene torch, and they worked out that when you light the torch and you got the stuff going, if you then put the flame out in water, then you could fill up a balloon with it, and then you light the balloon and throw it away. And when the burn on the rubber on the balloon hits the acetylene, you get a really satisfying bang. And they used to do that a lot, make these little acetylene bombs and had fun with it. And he said these two friends of his decided, I wonder how big we can make one. And they got a garbage bag, and they were in a garage, and they're filling the garage with the gas from the oxyacetylene torch, and they were gonna take it outside and light it on fire and see how big the bang was. And it's so funny. He said when the guy was telling the story, the plastic and the plastic bag had static electricity in it, and the guy said it was about half full, and the bag was starting to ripple, and he saw the spark. He saw as the bag was going crinkle, 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 he saw the spark from the static electricity, and he kind of went, "That static electricity, that seems bad." And then it just went bang, and they were in a closed space in a garage, and apparently it blew out all the windows in the garage and blew their eardrums out. But because there's no shrapnel, like the guy with the pipe bomb, when that blew up, shards of metal went everywhere, and that's what ripped him apart. It ripped all his fingers off and scarred him up. These guys, there was no shrapnel because it was just a plastic bag, so it was just a shock wave, and it blew out the windows in the garage and blew out their eardrums. but didn't do any other physical damage. I think their ears recovered. I'm not sure, but it's just like, man, kids are fucking stupid, and I include myself in that. They're very faint now, but I've got scars on this thumb from playing with fire as a kid, burning plastic. Because burning plastic's cool when it drops like napalm, and I burning plastic bottles with a friend because I thought it looked cool. He went, "Oh, it's hot," and he swung around really fast and dropped burning plastic on my thumb. Really fucking hurt because that was like napalm. It just stuck to my skin and burnt. Not for long, but enough to put pretty gnarly scars on my thumb. Won't really show up on there. But yeah, I mean, kids are stupid. That's the thing. I feel like boys were always encouraged to be more stupid. It's like for girls, it was unladylike to do these stupid things. For boys, it was like rough and tumble boy stuff, and boys would do stupid shit that would get you injured and killed far more often than girls would. Oh, it's your former. Just randomly pointing out, Oprah has promoted some really shady people. She's not exactly great president material. She absolutely has. She's promoted absolutely ridiculous and continues to promote absolutely ridiculous pseudoscience. It's just in comparison to Trump, she seems intelligent and compassionate and decent. And that's one of the big problems with Trump. In comparison to him, everyone looks good, even people who aren't very good. My God, he's dragged everything down so far. Musical aviator, yeah. Kids die all the time from making up their own explosives with fireworks. Oh, nice. Sure for me. Used to make smoke bombs from ping pong balls. There was a thing in the early days of YouTube of bleach bombs. A lot of the Americans named them after a particular brand of bleach. It was basically bleach reacts with aluminium foil, and if you seal in the container or blow up. I mean, I had fun with stuff. I had food delivered to the house that was packed in dry ice, frozen carbon dioxide, because if you put dry ice in water, a lot of gas comes out. So if you put water in a plastic or a glass bottle, for that matter, I did it with plastic bottles. You put water in the plastic bottle, then you put dry ice in, then you screw the lid on really tight. As the dry ice melts, the gas amount expands, and right up to the bottle reaches breaking point, and then it goes off with a really satisfying bang. But there's no shrapnel and there's no toxic stuff. If you make a bleach bomb, fucking sprays toxic shit everywhere. With dry ice and water, it's just carbon dioxide and water. I actually did that in a couple of videos. Tara, you used the kids' pool as a parachute to jump off a shed. That sounds about right. Oh, thanks, Cliff Jumper. You tweeted me a link to the interview with the journalist who uncovered the Andrew Wakefield fraud. I will try to catch up with that later, maybe tomorrow, because I'm probably just going to go to bed after I finish this. This foxification, you're absolutely right. The trouble with Trump and all the people who love Trump is they're normalizing extremely bad behavior. And so people who are still really fucking awful are painted as being okay now. And it's like, no, sexual harassers and rapists, not cool. Actual Nazis and white supremacists, not cool. But Trump and his crowd have normalized that shit. And it's so fucked up. Toby, do I have angry stuff? No, in all seriousness, this is the thing Mrs. Angry said to me after I started doing the angry videos, because we'd been going out for, I don't know, a year or so before I started YouTube. And She said after I'd been doing it for a while, I was way less angry in day-to-day life because I got it all out of my system in the videos. So I'm just less angry. So I don't have angry sleep. I have quite peaceful sleep. Although I do that thing. Who does that thing with just as you're falling asleep, like something happens, you're not fully asleep, but you've started to dream, and something happens in the dream, like you miss a step or something, and you stumble in the dream, and then your legs just flail out in real life. I do that shit all the time. I don't know how Mrs. Angry puts up with me because I do that shit all the time. Just nodding off to sleep and then suddenly flailing out. I think there's even a name for that. That's it. Oh, see, this is why I like you people. You always know this stuff. I've heard that term before, misfoxification. It's a hypnagogic jerk. Yes. Oh my God, I do that shit all the time. You've also promoted Mad Men, but with Nazis. My God, I think you'd get funding straight away for that show based on some of the shows that are being made. But yeah, Raiders, I agree that Trump and most of the GOP are repulsive. They're just awful. And this is not to say, yeah, obviously you know, I know people are different. Thoroughly different people have really different political and social ideals to me. Someone disagreeing with me doesn't, by definition, make them a bad person. But Trump and his crowd are fucking awful. Smiley there, you did the hypnagogic joke, but never remembered the dream that did it. I don't specifically remember all the dreams, but I know a common thing in the dream. I'm walking and I trip, like I miss a step or step off a gutter or something and stumble. I stumble in the dream and I kick out in real life. And yes, Cliff Jumper, I did see the Republicans in Illinois have an actual Nazi as their nominee. He's a Holocaust denier. He used to be the head of the local Nazi party. And it's like, Illinois Nazis, motherfucker. Holy shit. All right, I think I missed something. Is Foxification? Yep, no, I think I missed something. That's okay. A TFU Friday. So, oh, there'll be a few things in TFU Friday. Maybe the Nazi, the Illinois Nazi. I really want to go to town on Barnaby fucking Joyce. That fucking hypocrite. He makes me so angry. Oh, this is just a fun thing. Who saw the video of the helicopter wash exposing Trump's baldness? It was hilarious. Friar Tuck, did you not? You're in Illinois. Did you not get the line? That's the line from the Blues Brothers. Jake and Elwood are in a car in Illinois, and there's a protest march of the Nazi Party has been given the rights to have a march through the city, and they've got a big protest there, and Jake and Elwood are there, and what are this? Illinois Nazis. And Jake just goes, I hate Illinois Nazis. And they drive straight at them, just as the Illinois Nazis crossing a footbridge. And they drive straight at them, and all the Nazis jump off the bridge into the water. So I'm quoting a movie there, Friar Tuck. I hate Illinois Nazis. But yeah, you've got a Republican running who's a full-on fucking Nazi. Friar Tuck, are you in caps lock all the time? I'm old school text communicator enough. Caps lock always looks like shouting to me. Abigail Mitchell, I didn't watch the Falcon Heavy test launch as such, but all my nerd friends would not stop tweeting about it. So I got heavy exposure to the whole Falcon Heavy launch for like 24 hours, which is fun. You know, it's a major moment in human technological development. Ah, the heretic, as Roy Wood Jr. said, take that Nazi shit to Oakland and see what happens. Yeah, that would not be good. I've not been in Oakland. I've been above Oakland. years ago when I went to San Francisco, I was in the US and wanted to go to San Francisco, and I was in Las Vegas at the time with an ex. She had family in Las Vegas. We're going to take some time and go to San Francisco, and we looked at flights, and it was much cheaper to fly into Oakland than it was to fly into San Fran airport. You could fly into Oakland and get a train, the elevated train into San Fran. And we did that because we didn't know anything about it. And man, Oakland looked fucking mean. We were above it on this elevated train. And I looked down and it looked like the setting for every gang movie I'd ever seen. And we were just looking over the edge going, I'm fucking glad I'm not down there. Oakland looks hard as fuck. So I've never been in Oakland. I've been above Oakland, and yeah, Oakland looked fucking tough, man. Oh, Tara, you're always brushing your hair, and it hurts, and she's enjoying it. That's bad. Toby, that Falcon Heavy test launch, that was Elon Musk's rocket launch and return, and he fired off his own Tesla car into space. So the rockets were called Falcon Heavy rockets, and there were 3 of them. And I think the optimum goal was for all 3 of them to land. Like, because your old school rockets, they just fall apart, fall everything off. But Elon Musk is pushing the whole reusable rockets, and 2 of them. I reckon it's amazing. Every time they do it, they freaking fire a rocket up and it comes back and lands. It's fucking amazing. And you're right, Shellformer, it's like the opening to the Heavy Metal animated movie, a car going off into space. I'm actually, speaking of Tesla cars, I've been at this thing at Federation Square in Melbourne for a couple of days, I think called Pause Fest. It's about festival for entrepreneurs, particularly online and technology entrepreneurs. And there's a display at Federation Square of a Tesla, SUV. And I hate those type of cars, but the Tesla SUV is completely electric, of course, like all Teslas. And the passenger doors are gull wings. Like, the front doors, the front driver and passenger door just open like normal vehicle doors. But the passenger doors go up like gull wings. And it's it's a very interesting design thing, because I'm sort of sick of being in the suburbs and having all these fucking suburban mothers driving SUVs, because they're way too fucking big for suburban roads, and there's no good reason. There's this illusion of them being safe when they're actually the least safe vehicles on the road, and they're fucking picking up and dropping off kids. These fucking things block so much traffic because they're so big. And you're right, this mixed foxification, none of them are fucking made for off-road travel. They were modeled on off-road vehicles, but they're just not. But yeah, the Tesla, the electric Tesla, has gull wings, which is quite a look. It's also kind of funny, because, yes, Shellformer, 2-rack tractors, exactly. When you lift the hood, the bonnet, whatever it's called in your part of the world, where normally there's an engine, that's not how Tesla works. Their engine is all under the floor, basically. So under the hood is a storage space. So it looks really funny. You lift up the hood of the Tesla SUV, and instead of there being an engine there, it's a storage room. Oh, Raider, I like that. A trunk at the front. It's a frunk. I really like that. That's good work. Good morning, Harbchan. Good morning to you. And Megalich, yes, you did just get me at the end, buddy. About 20 minutes. I'll probably 20 to 10. I usually finish at 10. Oh, I like my grape candy vodka soda. Would be very dangerous, because you could drink a lot of this because it doesn't taste like product. Damn you, Elon Musk. Yeah, right. Smiley nerd, he should have a flying DeLorean. He wants to Toby, I'm drinking this. This is my vodka that's had Mike and I grape candy dissolved in it, so it's purple. So a little bit of grape candy vodka in lemonade. Oh, Megalich doing some night swimming. That's very bold. Were you going the whole way with night swimming? Was it nude? You can tell us. Was it nude? Oh, the other funny thing about the Tesla display is one of the dudes staffing it, a Tesla employee is staffing it. He recognized me as Angry Aussie, which happens occasionally. He's just like, I start talking, he goes, because you're a famous YouTube person. I went, famous is a really relative term. But yes. La Heretic, what's a typical Australian breakfast? I think that varies from person to person. I have cereal a lot of the time. Everyone can pipe up. Misfoxification, coffee. I have cereal a lot of the time. The Australian cafe culture, which is catching on a bit around the world. Famously, smashed avocado on toast was popularized by Australian cafes. And that's usually avocado and feta cheese. Yes, misfoxification. I like bacon for breakfast, bacon and eggs. I make a leach yogurt. Toby has Weet-Bix. Yeah, I have cereal a lot. Sometimes I'll make like a bacon sandwich. And what do I have in cafes? Usually, I like having something with bacon for breakfast. I admit. Oh, fried tuck. What does koala taste like? Chicken. Now, I think koala would be very gamey. I think koala would taste like venison or something, or worse. That's my suspicion, anyway. Oh, Daru Firefly, you have banana and yogurt. Ooh, Raiders, you go big on the weekend. Have bacon snags and baked beans. Mmm. Yep, that's pretty good. Tara, you had fish for breakfast. That feels unusual. Oh, Cliff Jumper, we did talk about the Super Bowl riot, just like fucking white privilege in action. And I just feel, and what makes me angry about it is I feel like those same people who had the riot and trashed the city because of a football game, they're the ones who go tisk tisk when there were riots after political protests. Where people were fucking angry and got agitated, and they're criticizing people who have a fucking cause when they do it just because of their fucking sport. So yes, koala tastes eucalyptus. I think you're right, Megaleech. Koalas eat so much. I know it's a joke, but I think there'd be a eucalyptus taste in koalas. I think that's so true. Hello, black guns matter. You've caught us right at the tail end, last 15 minutes probably. Misfoxification nightmare. If you want to know what koala tastes like, maybe rub a steak with vapor rub and eat that. And that would probably be what koala tastes like. Cliff Jumper, you're right. Look, you're an Eagles fan at Major Sick. Obviously, the overwhelming number of the sports fans don't do that shit. But there's this chunk of them that do, and there's not really much you can do about it. I almost watched it because I actually had the sports channel on my cable subscription. I could have watched the Super Bowl live, but I think I played Yakuza 0 instead. Toby, do I get intoxicated often? Usually on the way. Oh, you guys are a really bad influence. I often have a drink or two while I'm doing a live stream. But yeah, also, like Friday or Saturday night, I'll probably have a couple of drinks. But not like I never drink to the point where I have a hangover. And I've probably thrown up from drinking like a grand total of about like 3 or 4 times in my life, so I tend to not drink to excess. Sorry, Christopher. I'm not sure that story is true. It's funny. I'm not sure it's true. A member of British boy band One Direction caught chlamydia off a koala. It's true that koalas do actually have a problem with chlamydia. I think you'd have to probably be pretty intimate with a koala to catch chlamydia from it. Not necessarily have sex, but you'd have to get like excretions from its eyes in your system. I think that story is probably not true. The Heretic, you're a straight edge. Good for you. Someone's got to be. Someone's got to be responsible. Ooh, that's an interesting trick, Miss Foxification. Whip up scrambled eggs very quickly using steam wand on your espresso machine, so you can easily make eggs and coffee. That is a good life hack. I like that. I don't have a coffee machine here, so I can't do it, but that is a good life hack. Okay, Cliff Jumper, you reckon if a koala urinates on someone, they can catch it? Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think it sounds unlikely. Frotuck, it wasn't a koala, he caught it from a kangaroo. I think if he got chlamydia, he just got it from a groupie, quite honestly. Tried to blame it on a koala. Tara, you thrown up twice in your life. Totally impressive. I did a couple of years ago on New Year's Eve. I was at a friend's place and I actually took a bunch of my flavored drinks there and was making drinks for people. And I obviously got pretty drunk. I didn't realize how drunk I was, but I thought I was okay. We were leaving. I wasn't going to drive. I was going to be a passenger. Mrs. Angry said she'd drive that night. And I'm walking down my friend's driveway going, boy, I swear I didn't even feel sick. I didn't feel like I was that drunk. I didn't feel sick. And I was just walking down the driveway and I sort of went, boy, and I just went, whoa, and just threw up in the driveway without warning. And I was like, oh, that was unexpected. Oh my God. It was embarrassing because I threw up in a friend's driveway, but I didn't feel sick at all. Any other time I've thrown up from drinking, I felt sick, and so it wasn't a big surprise when I threw up. But this one time took me totally by surprise. You're right, the Heretic. Straight edge will make you designated driver. For many, 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 many years, I didn't drink alcohol, and I would always be the designated driver. And it was okay. The weirdest thing I had, where I went to college, it was very much a party campus. Like the majority of the campus severely abused alcohol and drugs. And I didn't do alcohol or drugs at all at that point. And the weirdest thing is because of the way I carry on and the way I sort of party on with people, I had a guy who swore blind that he got high with me and drunk with me. And I said, no, dude, no. I was just hanging out with you while you were high and drunk. And he's like, really? And then he was really traumatized because he thought I was really high or drunk and he thought he'd done something wrong. I was like, no, dude, I just didn't. Okay. Oh, Tara, see the hangover and having to be on a train when someone got you to drink too much? Great breakfast recipe. Make a cheese sandwich and stick it in the microwave for a minute. Yeah, that's interesting, Cliff Joel. Oh, this is the way I like to do. I like to do toasted cheese sandwich. Sandwich press is the best thing ever. Sandwich presses are awesome. I love them. Make a sandwich like a cheese sandwich or whatever, but butter the outside and then put Parmesan cheese on the butter, and it sticks to the butter, and then put that in the sandwich press. And I use like baking paper in there so it doesn't stick to the sandwich press, and cook that. And so it's got this Parmesan on the outside, and that will the sandwich press will bake that like a crust. And so you've got a Parmesan crust on your sandwich. Fucking awesome. I love that. It's so good. That's my recommendation for a toasted cheese sandwich. Raiders, no, can't do hangovers. I just don't drink enough to get it. Even on the times when I have thrown up, I haven't had hangover. There's been 1 or 2 days where I've just spent the next day going, okay, yeah, I probably drank too much last night. My stomach feels a bit unsettled. I am not on top of my game today. But I've never been the, I've got a headache, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. I've never drunk to that point. Drunk enough to throw up like 3 or 4 times in my life. But I don't drink to the point of getting hangovers. Oh, yeah, Joe, we are getting some good food tips. Tara, you're right. If you're on happy pills and progesterone, you should be limiting your alcohol intake. I'm very much into encouraging people to not do anything irresponsible. Don't drink to excess. Don't mix alcohol and medication or recreational medication. Just you sort of be reasonable about it. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. I really don't like people who try to peer pressure someone into doing something excessive, drinking excessively, or doing drugs excessively. I think that's shitty behavior, and I won't go along with it. Oh my God, like heretic. For whatever reason, when you got drunk, you would take your clothes off and do something stupid so you don't drink it. Look, that is a very good reason to stop drinking. Sure, for me, you either don't drink enough, metabolize it too quick, get insomnia, or drink too much, still drunk the next day. After one particular night when I'd actually ended up getting surprised by the strength of some drinks I had, and I think I did throw up that night. I was going to go to work the next day because I felt okay, but Mrs. Angry said, "You actually smell like alcohol. You don't want to go to work smelling like alcohol, like it's leaching out of your skin. Even you don't feel sick, but don't go to work because A, I think you might still be drunk. B, even if you're not, you smell like alcohol. It's just coming out of your pores. So don't go to work." Don't. Okay. I don't need much encouragement to not go to work, but I didn't go to work that day. Oh my God, Cliff Jumper, you got drunk when you were 9, went to Spain on holiday. Parents gave you a pina colada. And then during the night, you had a couple more because you thought they were just a fun fruit coconut drink. Oh, yes. You felt like a gremlin scared of bright light. Um, I remember my older sister's wedding. I didn't drink there, but my younger brother did. He was about 14, 13 or 14 at the time, and he was into misbehaving a fair bit. And he was just going around, this was in Queensland. And a lot of people were leaving like this much beer in the bottom of their glass. And he was just running out and drinking these little bits of beer, which are relatively harmless. He's probably going to get drunk. But this was Queensland. So on top of serving beer, they were also serving Bundaberg rum. And I don't know, I think most of them would have been mixers, but obviously rum mixed with anything is a lot stronger than beer. And he'd been going around, it must have been mixed with ginger, my God, maybe it was straight, I don't know, or mixed with ginger beer because it was basically the same color as beer. And he was going, beer, beer. And then he picked one up that was rum and drank it and went, whoa, Jesus. And then he sort of went, wow, that was something full on. I'm going to find more of those. And because he was drinking it so fast, he crashed really badly. There was a period of about half an hour to an hour where he was really funny. And then he just crashed. He was too drunk and too sick. And he was really regretful the next day. Oh my God, Tara, last time you were drunk, you vomited, had to have a shower, and there was no towel. Standing there freezing your tits off, naked, calling for a towel. You freaked your brother out and said, "I don't need to see my sister naked." Okay, yep, no, that's messed up. I like that we went with the pina colada song. La Heretic, do you like pina coladas and irresponsible parenting? And Fury asking Cliff Jumper, did you get caught in the rain? Uh, Right? The whole so if you like pina coladas and irresponsible parenting, give your kid a drinky. What's the worst that could happen? Ooh, you like Black Sambuca, Mrs. Foxification. Sambuca's okay because it has that licorice taste. And that's why I like absinthe, because absinthe has that licorice taste. They have the same base. Uh, and like I had this really high strength absinthe at a New Year's Eve party at Aidsy's place. This was a few years ago, probably about 5 years ago. And it was 85% alcohol. Just black absinthe was 85% alcohol. And I was mixing it. I think I was mixing it with cola. And right at the end of the night, while I was fairly fucked up, and everyone's going like, "Oh yeah, it's like it's 3 or 4 in the morning, going to bed." And I had just made myself another drink. And I'm like, "Not drinking this, no way." All right, everyone's going to bed. I'm going to go sleep on the lounge. And I left the glass sitting on the table. Um, and then everyone woke up 6, 8, 12 hours later, and this drink, a fairly strong absinthe, had been sitting out all that time. And the licorice smell had just permeated the house. Like everyone was getting up going, what the hell's that smell? Just because it's been sitting there for 6, 8, 12 hours, I don't know. The smell had just permeated the house, and everyone's going, "Oh my god, what is that?" And it was my fault for leaving this drink sitting there. The absinthe smell was, or I don't know if it had evaporated or it was just smell, but yeah. Joe, I think if you have a particular reaction to Sambuca, that's psychological. Everyone says, oh, vodka does this to me, but tequila does this to me. Not really. It's just alcohol. Um, and any difference in your behavior or whatever is usually, it's a psychological association with it. It's like everyone's sure absinthe is hallucinogenic. Oh no, if you get the real one with wormwood, no, it's not. It absolutely is not. That is hype from about a century ago. Uh, it simply isn't true. It's alcohol. There were all these moral panic stories in the early 20th century because the Bohemians really liked alcohol. And there's stories about a person murdered his whole family. Because of alcohol, absinthe, and it simply isn't true. It's alcohol. Absinthe tends to be quite high alcohol content, and average absinthe is about 60%. There are some that are weaker, but there are some that are much stronger. Like I said, I've got 85%. This one, I like this. This is not the only maker. This is a French one, Jacques Soreau absinthe. They color code it. Green is a traditional color for absinthe. Um, Jacques Soreau Green Absinthe is 70% alcohol. This red one is 75%. They have a blue one that's 80% and a black one that's 85%. I used to always get the black one because it's like, woo, bang for buck. But when you mix the black one with stuff, it tends to make the drink look like dirty pond water. And I like the aesthetics of the red one mixed with drinks. The black one, they taste about the same. The black one does not have a very good aesthetic mixing with drinks. So yeah. Cliff Jumper, what kind of drink am I? Some get angry and fight. Mum and dad become soppy mess. I love you. Your mum sings. I talk. In case you haven't noticed, if I get drunk, I talk. I mean, I talk if I'm sober, but drunk, I will really get talking. And Raiders, that is a really gross image you put in my head. Barnaby cheating with Gina Reinhardt. I thought I'd gone bad enough when I was trying to put a mental image in people's head of Barnaby Joyce having sex, but Barnaby Joyce having sex with Gina Reinhardt, that's a special sort of horrible. But yeah, Joe, you're right. It's not alcohol itself is one thing, but it's the setting and whatnot. Like, and maybe what you mixed it with and how much you ate and whatnot. But a lot of people have mental associations with it. Like some people, seriously, like someone who's got shit-faced on tequila and really, really drunk and sick and what, then they can't even smell tequila without feeling sick, but they'll drink out other alcohol. They can't drink tequila because it's got a sense memory thing for them. That's a real thing. Cliff Jumper, what type of talk? Random yapping? Really philosophical? Both. Both. I talk a lot, and I don't always realize when I should stop on alcohol. Mind you, not as bad as like amphetamines. In my very misspent youth, I remember going to a wedding. And there was like half a dozen of us did speed before the wedding. And the bride was from the country. And so half the people at the wedding were from the country. And the other were from the city. And we're in Sydney for this wedding reception. And about half a dozen of us had shared this speed. And that really makes me talk and talk really fast. But other people were just drinking lots of alcohol. So that slows them right down. So while they were getting drunk, being a bit talkative but slowing down, I was, and this half dozen of us were going like this. And I would find myself getting into conversations with drunk people and only realizing about 5 minutes in that I was scaring them, that I was freaking them out because I was talking 100 miles an hour. And they were just, dude, fucking what are you, dude? And so I try to extricate myself from that conversation that I wasn't handling. And I got stuck talking to the bride's parents at one moment. And one part of my brain is screaming, don't do this. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. Don't get away. But my mouth's already going. And the frontal lobe's going, okay, try and make sense. And the back is going, it's failing. Don't talk. Run away. End the conversation. Run away. And that was a very weird night. I just do angry drunk gaming. The weirdest thing, like the game I've been playing lately, which I almost finished. I could go and do the boss fight anytime I want. I'm just doing a bunch of side stuff. Is called Yakuza 0. And it's fun with a very fucking weird sense of humor. But I found your character can get drunk in that, which has a few effects. Because there are all these little side games, like you can play pool, you can play darts, you can play mahjong, you can go bowling, you can go to bed. It makes the games harder to play because you can't be steady, but you can power up your fighting skills to where you're actually better when you're drunk. You fight better when you're drunk than when you're not. I found myself when I got my character drunk and I'm picking fights with Yakuza, I start talking as if I'm drunk. I'm really just going, yeah, motherfucker, fucking good. The Heretic, you think GTA 4 has a good drinking simulator? GTA 5, which I just played, after you finish the main quest, you can keep playing. And you can go out drinking with the various characters. And it's really funny trying to drive after you're drunk because all the reactions are delayed and then overcompensated. So, yeah, you cannot drive without just crashing all over the place when you're drunk. I played GTA 4, not at any extent, but I just did GTA 5. Toby, do I urinate often? I'm going to urinate now. 2 hours and I've had a couple of drinks and I haven't urinated. I need to go. It's bedtime. Look, Miss Foxification, I do sometimes think I'll do some angry gaming videos. Maybe, Megalish, your brother's game. That was interesting. The racing game. It was a cool game. Really nice bit of coding. I found it a little bit confusing. I I wasn't 100% sure of what I was trying to do all the time. And it was very fast paced because it was a racing game. And it was kind of like racing and weird shit happening. And I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing. So I did find the game a little confusing. It's a beautiful looking game. Very neat piece of work. Like, absolutely 2 thumbs up to the creators of the game. I think it's quite good. But I did find it a bit confusing. I'll try and have another go at it. And see if I can work it out a bit more. But I did find it a bit confusing. Oh, anyway, look, it's after 10. I'm going to say good night to you wonderful, fine people. Thank you very much for your company. As always, it's been a very good time. I hope to see you all again soon. I'm going to try and have a video for tomorrow. I'm not sure if there'll be a video up tomorrow night or on the weekend because I am at this conference all day tomorrow. I may not have enough time to do a video and have it live tomorrow night, but we'll see what's happening. Hey, who knows? AZ might come over on the weekend. We might be able to do another live stream, and that would be fun. Very different time of the day. But we'll see what happens. So you all take care of yourself. Thank you very much for joining me. Very much appreciate your company. Hope to see you again soon. And I'll say bye now. Look after yourself.